Hello everyone, hope that you're doing well today. And in this video, I'm going to be doing some things in the garden. I'm going to be going outside and showing some updates that we have. And I'm also going to be discussing about some pros and cons that I have with growing things indoors. I did things a little bit differently and I kind of want to talk about it a little. And so we'll go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is how I'm growing the plants this year, because this year I started to grow them inside these, they're a mixture of toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls that I cut. And so I noticed that some of them were growing really well in these toilet paper rolls, and then others weren't. And then I also had an issue with other plants like this guy, where it seems to be the soil is too moist, or certain plants or seeds don't like this soil that I'm using because it stays very wet for a very long time. And over here growing are the tomato plants. Now this is the thing that I'm most disappointed in. Hold on, let me turn on this light. Because I did it a little differently over here. I have them inside of these plastic saran wrap around the toilet paper holders, and it became super moist and wet to the point where it was causing issues with how the plants were growing. So when I go and do these again next year, I'm either going to not put the plastic on at all, or I'm just going to use these containers to grow. I think the reason why I didn't do them this year and I did it last year was because I didn't want to use as much soil to fill up the entire container, and then put the seeds in there, which I could have, but I wanted to try something different this year. And so I have a whole bunch of more rolls and stuff saved, and I think it is a good method. I just think that wrapping it in the plastic was something that I'm probably not going to do again next year. The one thing that I will say is a positive is not all of them winded up looking that way. Like this guy right here, even though he, you know, they're all in the same container and I planted them all at the same time, he isn't doing that bad. Although you can see that this is the best growing plant in this container. Those are the containers that I usually always grow them in, and as you can see, I'm having a hard time growing them in these. It's hard to tell, but they're super moist and wet on the bottom, and I've been thinking about transplanting them again, but I don't know if that's really going to disturb the roots or not, so I'm kind of fearful about doing it. And the soil is really weird because you can kind of see it's like rock hard on top, and then on the bottom it's super, almost muddy wet. So yeah, using these were probably not the best idea, but I'm still hopeful that I'm going to get good plants this year because they are trying to grow. And these are all tomato plants, and then the ones in the back there that look a little bit different, those are pepper plants. I didn't grow too many peppers this year because I was having a hard time growing them as well. Some of my seeds are kind of old, but yeah, I'm pretty hopeful still and pretty positive. So we have some spinach growing right here, and it's growing really well. Sorry, the sun is completely bright and in my face right now. But yeah, the spinach is growing really well. I'm thinking about harvesting some of this tonight and making some food out of it. I've had a lot of stuff I've been doing, not been able to get to it. And then we've got the bunchen onions growing really well right here. And so as you can see, part of the update is all of these pieces of, I don't really know what the quality material of it is. I'm just calling it like a brick or a stone. And we broke this up out back. We took like trash bags and had them inside there and broke them up because they were just like square blocks that you could, you know, put down as like a foundation. And so we broke them up and put them all in here, and this is gonna help with the soil and the heat so that it doesn't overbearing and make the soil too hot and dry. And then this is also gonna help out with the squirrels, and it actually has already been helping. Here, excuse me, Oreo. As you can see over here, the squirrels, they started digging all into here. I don't know if you can really even tell, but I saw that they did that, and so I placed this here in between some of the plants. And I noticed the next day, I think it was either yesterday or today, I can't remember, they did not bother with the space at all. I got one over here too. These guys are growing pretty tight together, so I don't have anything in between. And I'm doing everything that's just sitting out here versus like inside the greenhouses because the squirrels don't really go in there. But also to help with the heat as well, I might put stuff over here. The other thing that we're going to do as well is we're also going to be putting hay on top of this. So this is actually mulch, and then underneath of it is the soil, you know, obviously. And then we've got these brick pieces on top, and then on top of that we're going to put hay. I probably am going to have to put these more in the ground so that I can really fit the hay on top. But I mean, if it pokes through, it does. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, this is mainly the setup for now, and later on when I do more stuff I will show that. And then over here is the Brussels sprouts. As you can see, you can probably see a little better here, they were digging right here, and I usually just move the soil over, and then we've been placing these guys on top to help. I don't think the squirrels are actually trying to destroy the plants. I think they're just trying to dig to bury stuff or find stuff. So I'm not too concerned about them like destroying the plants. I'm not sure what this is from. Could be just from tiny insects or something. But yeah, this is the Brussels sprouts. Pretty excited to see them continuing to grow. And also the railing that is non-existent across the deck is something that we're fixing and upgrading as well. There's other pieces on the deck too that need to be upgraded. We're also going to be upgrading the raised beds next year as well, because some of them are breaking. The wood just needs to be repaired or, you know, completely destroyed, and then we'll make new ones. So yeah, we still have a lot of stuff that we need to do and upgrade. I usually forget to talk about what these plants are. This is the wild bergamot, or it's also called, I don't want to misinterpret it, I'll put it up on the screen, whatever it is. I don't want to say the wrong word, but this is essentially like a plant that goes into a flower, and you can harvest either the leaves or the flower. The way that I like to harvest it is I let it grow all the way up until it starts to flower, and then I just chop the whole thing down from the stem and let it hang dry like that. And this stuff is good for like a medicinal use as well. This is something that Native Americans were using as part of their medicine, to help them with I'm pretty sure it was like colds and anything that had to do with like a soreness in their throat. They would make tea out of it, or they would use like dry it up and use it as a seasoning kind of thing for their foods. If I had to compare this to something, it's kind of almost like oregano and sage in a way. It's a very woody kind of herby taste, so it's really good with steak and different kind of meats like that. And then right here is the German winter thyme. This is a perennial. This is a perennial as well. And then this is hard to see, but there is sage growing, and I'm really grateful for it, because last year I don't think it was really growing like that. this guy started to take over. I didn't realize how much this would grow and take over, so I had to start pulling some of that out just so I can make room right here. But yeah, the sage is good for cooking as well. So is the German winter thyme. I mean, it's just like, you know, any other thyme, I'm pretty sure, in terms of the taste and how you use it. So yeah, I really like growing this stuff. They call this the poor man's herb, because you can grow so much of this, and it is almost like a wild weed. The way how it grows, you could just kind of get it to grow anywhere, and it's a very hardy kind of plant, especially this one, because it's a winter time, so it's pretty good for the really harsh climates. So the overall pros and cons that I have with what I'm doing inside with growing the seeds, I'll start with the cons first. So I don't really like the idea that the soil was becoming almost rock hard. And I know last year I used the same soil and I did it the same way that I'm doing it this year, but I think it might have to do with being inside the paper towel holders or toilet paper holders. I think it was really drying the soil out even more than what it would usually do if it was just like in a plastic container. So I definitely think the paper towel rolls have a specific way on how to use it, and I think one of those ways is to have the right kind of soil if I am going to continue doing it this way, because then I will mention one of the pros is I like reusing things that we would just recycle or throw away, and I like the idea, instead of buying a bunch of plastic containers and using them in that way, that I could just use them the way that I was this year, and I didn't have to spend like too much money on doing it, because I'd like to be as frugal as I can. I know once I buy the containers, I can reuse them again every year. The one container that I had from years ago that had like a plastic and a rubber kind of mix to it in the container, the style to it, it was like this blue color. The plastic, or I'm sorry, the rubber that was at the bottom of what was holding the soil, it just started to dry rot, and it just completely disintegrated. And I don't know, when that happened, it made me like not want to buy another one or anything similar to it. And so I guess that's why this year I was thinking more of ideas of, okay, well, what could I do to save money? Because that thing, it wasn't like the most expensive thing ever, but it was around like 20 bucks or something like that. So, you know, it's something that's supposed to last for a long time, and I probably could have maintained it better and kept it cleaner, and maybe that would have helped it from not disintegrating like the way that it did. But I don't know, I overall was kind of like had an iffy feeling about it already, because I didn't like how small the container was for each slot that was meant to hold a seed. And I don't know, it wasn't the best method, but it was something that I was, you know, willing to try, just like how I'm trying new and different things as well. Another pro would be, I like that I can, like, especially with the paper towel holder, I can kind of make it as tall as I want. I don't have to specifically stick to a size that the container is with the plastic containers if I was to buy them that way. So that's another plus. I also just like the idea that once I get them in the paper towel rolls, I'm just going to put them directly into the soil so that it can just disintegrate into the soil and I don't have to transplant it out and all that stuff. So it is getting used to the point where, excuse me, it's going to go back into nature, and I like that idea. So yeah, there's a bunch of different kind of pros and cons that I have around it, but overall, I would probably do it again. I just know that I have to get maybe different kind of soil and mix it up, if anything, or just get a whole different kind of new soil for the starter plants. And then when I go and transplant, I can use this cow manure soil that I'm using for outside as well. Yeah, this is the first time that I've ever done anything like this where I'm using a paper towel holder or roll, and yeah, I just like it a lot. I think it's something new and different, and even if some of the plants don't look as great, I'm still happy that I'm giving it a go, I'm giving it a try, and yeah, I hope that it all works out at the end, and I will keep you guys updated on what happens. And maybe if you guys have any tips or other ideas on what I could do to improve, or even what you do in the garden season and how you like to start your starter plants. Again, this is something that I'm doing for the first time, and so I'm going to continue to learn and grow. And yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed this video. It's something just kind of short and sweet that I wanted to put together, just a little update in the garden. And I hope that you guys have a great week and you enjoy the gardening season if you're gonna do it. And I will see you in the next video, and bye-bye.